started work on this sort of Wonky Yew stave just because I felt like it basically. I hadn't done any bows for a while. It's not the nicest piece. It's got a natural deflex here with a bit of reflex at either end and a big knot coming out here. I've got it cut down to 79 inches. I'm aiming for about 80 at 31. Just a bit of fun really. I've had it on the tiller just a couple of times, but I want this knot on the upper limb, which is generally slightly less strained than the lower. But it turned out this limb was weaker, so I've been working away at this limb to try and get it more evenly balanced. So we'll have a quick shifty, just see if it's actually moving. Yeah, they're both moving a bit more evenly. Of course, the knotty limb's a bit stiff where the knot is. But the other thing is there's a bit of sideways bend here, bending back that way. And I wanted to steam it straight, but the steamer burnt out. I mean, I've only had it about 20 years. It's not done too badly. I couldn't find one in the shops. The ones in the shops were 4 litre reservoir and about 2000 watt power, but the old one was a 5 litre reservoir and 2.2 kilowatts, so I thought I want one at least the same as that. But I found one online for 31 quid, 31 pounds for those of you who aren't English, but if you're not English then the pounds is irrelevant because you'll be talking in dollars anyway, or something else. Other currencies are also available. Anyway, you can see I've just got it flexing vaguely symmetrically. I think I need to steam it straight before I go much further. My new steamer turned up and there's a cat. It's pretty much the same as the other, but it's nice that the top's actually screwed on, so theoretically I could replace the element. Irritatingly, this fixing is a bigger diameter than the old, which doesn't really matter, but it just meant I've chopped the new pipe in half, so I can't use it as a wallpaper steamer anymore, but never mind, it's mostly for working on bows. I did the little sideways correction on the bow, and then I thought, I put it on the tiller and it looked just awful, that the deflex was just too much, and it was all one side of the grip, it just looked stupid. So I've steamed out a lot of that deflex as well. I'll pop it on the tiller and just have a quick shufty. Oh, while we're here, there is one dodgy looking bit. Is the video going to focus on there? Yeah, there we go. Dodgy bit of a ring or grain runs along there. I took out the bit of sideways bend and I put it back on the tiller, and the deflex here was just awful. It had the bow sitting, you know, so much on the piss it just looked ridiculous, and it would have made this limb look ludicrously weak, which just throws your eye when you're trying to tiller it. I mean, I could have tillered it wonky, I've tillered wonky bows, but if you can get them roughly symmetrical, it just makes it a lot easier. We can see I've pulled it before to 70, so I'll just give it a tug and see what it looks like. I mean, it was steamed yesterday. I mean, some people say you've got to leave it ages to reacclimatise after steaming, but I'm not sure I believe that. There, that's looking a lot more symmetrical, isn't it? You know, it's just easier on the eye. Yeah, it's that bit of deflex there still. Just here we've got this bit of natural deflex, and you see I've thinned it slightly there to make the bend easier to try and pull it back. I'd have struggled to bend it there, and it may need more heat work later on, but it's just something for me to do. I'll take it back to 70 just for the sake of completeness. Yeah, I mean, that's showing. It does look weak there, but is it weak there or is it just the deflex? Well, if it looks like that now, imagine what it was like when there was probably another couple of inches of deflex. It really threw the eye. Something nasty. We've got that dodgy bit of grain, which may or may not be a problem. That's the thinnest point on the limb at the minute. I deliberately thinned it so it'd bend easier. So that's another reason why it looks weak there. So I'll put a big luffer leave there and we'll proceed. There you go. Before I do too much more, there's a couple of bits I need to investigate. I'll pick out this knot because I can't see where it comes through on the back of the bow. It's unlikely to be that. It could be that, but it's unlikely. And it's surrounded by black manky stuff, so it's got no compressive strength really. The black stuff would compress and you'd end up with a little pinch across there. But if I dig it all out and fill it with something solid, it will be fine. And again, what angle does it go in at and how deep does it go? So I'll pick that out. But I'll also have a look at this this sort of dodgy area here. If I can get the camera to focus. Yeah, I mean, is it an entire ring that's dodgy, or is it just a little shallow defect? Is this here, is that anything to do with it? Yeah, I'll just pick away at it, worry at it, see what it's like. I mean, it may well disappear off the bow as the bow's worked, but better to investigate it early than to get a nasty surprise later. Just working down the gradual taper as well. We're a bit fat here, I've just noticed. So that's the thing, you see, you look at one area, and as you're talking and looking, you suddenly think, well, yeah, I can see that's a bit fat as well. So I'll take that down a bit more, clean out those knots, get her on the tiller again. Picking away at that knot, I can see it actually goes at that sort of angle. So it's going into what was presumably the centre of the limb, which is probably about 1/4 of an inch under here. It's only a small diameter limb in the first place, this. And of course the centre of a log isn't always in the middle. It can be offset to one side. So this is sort of going in like that. It's not going through and coming out on the back. But it also shows you how much loose, sort of worthless material there is around the knot. But that may well, it looks to get solid once it goes in about, what's that, about 1/4 inch, sort of 3 or 4 millimeters. So that may well disappear as the belly of the bow is reduced and rounded. What I might do, I don't actually know yet, what I might do is just pick it out a bit more and fill it with epoxy and yew dust, just to sort of keep it stable while I work it. And then I may see it's totally disappeared to nothing when the bow's finished. Well, that looks pretty solid under there. I might not even bother with that. Hard to see. But it doesn't, it's not a great big plug that goes right through into the bow. That's the main thing. So that's looking quite promising. But it may well come, as I go reduce the belly of the bow, it may show up here. Yeah, a bit like this one. It will show up as something like that, or like these. Yeah. Anyhow, onwards and upwards. Still looking a little bit thin there, but I've cleaned up a few bits and bobs, evened it out. Let's just have another look when I've picked out at that knot. Yeah, that's looking more even, isn't it now? And it's working a bit more. In fact, she's coming back another inch or so. Yeah. Looks like it's got the makings of a bow. And she's obviously stiff near this knot. And that will be the dilemma. What do I do with that I can't help leaving it a bit thicker where the knot swells up, and I'm going to leave this sort of nubbin sticking up as a feature, if you like. A bit of a nod to those Hedeby bows, sort of Eastern European, that have a sort of peg stuck out the side where you can hang the string or whatever it was there for. People don't really know. But she's a bit stiff there. But what I might do is leave extra width and not go thicker. But it's hard not to go thicker if you're trying to leave the knot. I mean, you can't dig in and leave a sharp corner where the knot peeks through, else it's a weak point. So it's all very touchy-feely, but yeah, it's on the way now. I've taken it a little past 70. Not really sure what draw weight I'm after. Probably nominally 80 at about 30, 31 inch draw. You know, if I'm going to call it something, what would I call it? I suppose I'd call it a medieval hunting bow. But it's a bow, it's a self-yew bow. Make of it what you will. I haven't dug out and cleaned around there yet. I might have a look at that. That's enough fiddling and fettling. I'll come and tinker with it later in the day.